Some have been successful in the past while others weren't so lucky. Here we're going to be looking at 10 people who were caught trying to escape prison. Hey guys, welcome back to FTD Facts. Leroy Kenton here. Let's begin. Number 10 leads us to James Russell. James Russell, a 39-year-old inmate serving his 4th prison term, managed to break out of the Olympics Correction Center. However, luck was not on his side. While still wearing his prison uniform, Russell approached a cabin and knocked on the door, hoping to borrow a cell phone. But to his amazement, the person who answered the door happened to be a correctional officer from the same facility that he just escaped from. Of course, the correctional officer, he promptly recognized Russell in his unmistakable prison attire and swiftly took action to apprehend him once again. As a result, Russell's freedom was short-lived and he was rearrested by the alert guard. From there, let's take a look at Lester and Michael. Lester Burns and Michael Coleman, renowned for their daring van escape, successfully executed their plan to break out of the prison. With the help of luck and determination, they managed to infiltrate the prison van, start the engine, and commence their getaway. But unfortunate circumstances unfolded when an unknown prisoner, unbeknownst to Burns and Coleman, was also present inside the van. They had no idea. This individual had absolutely no intention of partaking in the escape and strongly opposed the entire plan. Prompted by a sense of responsibility, the reluctant prisoner contacted emergency services by dialing 911 to report the escape. Consequently, all 3 individuals involved in the incident were captured. Coming up at the number 8 spot, we have Lorenzo Pollard. Imprisoned in Missouri, Lorenzo Pollard employed improvised nunchucks crafted from bed sheets and a chair to engage in a confrontation with prison guards, ultimately enabling him to escape. Almost. Lorenzo, he showcased his proficiency in combat, which played a role in his initial success in eluding prison security. Nevertheless, though, his downfall stemmed from underestimating the vigilance of prison security forces. Shortly after Lorenzo managed to break free, the entire security force promptly mobilized, leading to his recapture not long after his escape. He does get an A for effort though. Come on, he created nunchucks out of bed sheets and a chair. Moving on to the number 7 spot, we have Curtis Ray Watson. In a small rural community in Tennessee, Curtis Ray Watson, a detainee, he successfully escaped prison following his malicious actions towards and the subsequent end of life of a prison official. Engaged in his regular lawn duties alongside other inmates, Curtis, he made a fateful decision to execute a reckless act. According to reports, Curtis SA'd and took the life of the prison executive, seizing the opportunity to break free once the path was clear. Utilizing a tractor as his means of transportation, he fled into the surrounding fields. Such decisive and rapid actions deemed Curtis a highly dangerous inmate. After eluding authorities for 5 days, Curtis was eventually apprehended and returned to custody. Coming down to the number 6 spot, we have Christopher Bosacchi. He was somebody who was held at the Elmwood Correction Facility for petty theft and was nearing his release date actually. But he ended up displaying a lack of wisdom and impatience by proceeding with an ill-conceived escape plan that ended in utter failure. Without realizing it, Bosacchi, he decided to scale the prison security fences, unaware that surveillance cameras had recently been installed along the perimeter. He did manage to successfully climb the first 2 lines of security though, but his next action of grabbing onto a power line was captured on camera. His escape attempt was promptly disrupted, of course, and he never managed to breach the prison perimeter. I mean, if you were in prison, all you had to do is just wait a little bit longer. You would have been free. Next up at number 5, we have Michael J Norwood. At the Snake River Correctional Institution, inmate Michael J Norwood hatched a plan to escape, which involved creating a homemade dummy. Utilizing peanut butter, clothes, and his own hair, Norwood, he constructed a life-size dummy resembling himself. However, his judgment proved to be severely lacking, as he believed that this imitation would effectively mask his absence and go unnoticed. Regrettably for Norwood, his escape attempt lasted a mere 30 minutes. He was apprehended within the prison recreation yard before he could make any progress towards his freedom. Number 4 leads us to Dr. Samuel Mudd. So we got to go back a little bit in history for this one. Samuel A. Mudd, he gained notoriety due to his alleged involvement in the elimination of President Abraham Lincoln. Consequently, he was sentenced to life in prison on Dry Tortugas Island for conspiracy as well as some other crimes. Despite his sentence though, Dr. Samuel Mudd planned to escape the island prison by stowing away on a supply ship. However, he was apprehended shortly after his departure, and as a consequence of his attempted escape, Dr. Samuel Mudd was not placed back in a regular prison cell, but rather he was confined to a dungeon. There was no chance of escaping this time. Moving on to number 3, John Dillinger. Amidst the Great Depression, John Dillinger, he rose to infamy with his notorious reputation for theft and robbery making frequent headlines. The mastermind behind John Dillinger's escape though was actually his attorney. With the assistance of a fellow inmate, John Dillinger successfully fled the prison and he embarked on a journey to Chicago in a stolen vehicle. Remarkably, John Dillinger managed to escape capture twice before, eventually being caught though, along with his crewmates and his girlfriend at the time in Tucson. The prisoner at the number 2 spot is Ted Bundy. Infamous Ted Bundy managed to orchestrate not one, but 2 daring escapes from prison. Back in the year 1977, during a court trial, Bundy capitalized on an opportunity when the guard left to go for a smoke break, making his escape through an open window. However, his freedom was short-lived, as he was caught in Aspen after being pulled over by the police while attempting to flee the city in a stolen car. Undeterred by this though, Ted Bundy, he hatched up a second plan of escape, and this time he broke through the ceiling of his cell, accessed civilian clothes from the janitor's office during Christmas break, and he made his way to Chicago again. Unfortunately for him, his reckless driving skills led to his downfall once again, and he was apprehended in 1978, marking the end of his spree of escapes and reign of terror. Ending this episode off at number 1, we have Gruffydd ap Llywelyn. Gruffydd ap Llywelyn, he was a legitimate firstborn son of Llywelyn of Lorworth, and he held the status of a prince but faced a life marked by exile and imprisonment. Gruffydd ap Llywelyn, he himself experienced captivity in the Tower of London under the custody of members from the royal household. As the conditions grew unbearable for him, he devised a plan to escape his imprisonment. So from there, he went on to make a makeshift rope using tightly knotted bed sheets, and he was determined to regain his freedom, so he decided to descend from the building by jumping. But tragically, as he was a pretty heavy guy, one of the knots loosened during the fall from a height of nearly 90 feet, resulting in his ultimate end of life. So he didn't technically get caught by another human, but you could say that he was caught by the Grim Reaper instead. So there you have it, guys. These were 10 people who were caught trying to escape prison. Some of them got a little bit further than others. Others, their escape lasted a couple days, but either way, it all ultimately failed for them. I'm curious to know your thoughts about this. Sound off down below. And if you did make it this far, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up. Until next time, guys, stay awesome, stay educated, and I'll see you soon.